Okay, so let's just imagine, we don't really, those of us here who are here as women tonight, we don't really need to imagine. I'm sure you have a litany of things from your past that you felt unable to speak about at certain times, even if you maybe really wanted to. So let's imagine that this stone represents all those things, and I'm going to put it down. I'm going to put it down, and I'm going to suggest you might want to, I don't know, just feel into your heart as I do so. Maybe you want to take a deep breath, or maybe, I don't know, you'll know what arises as we all put our attention on this and we put it down together, okay? I never quite know what's going to happen myself. Something pretty weird is happening. I'm like actually finding that I don't want to let go of it. That's not happened before. So I call this show the Elephant in the Womb. It's our womb. No, maybe I'm the elephant. I guess we're here to give voice and honour, and in some cases celebrate, and in some cases mourn some of these things that historically and in many places today, and maybe in our own lives, probably in our own lives, we haven't felt able to share it now. So we have a pile of pebbles here. Oh. And probably during the interval, for sure, we'll have time if anyone feels like honouring some of the things that we've touched on tonight or something else. The invitation is to bring a pebble into the centre, and in this land where I live, in Scotland, we have a tradition when you've been for a long walk, you might have got to the top of a big hill, kind of as a way marker after a hard climb, a hard part of your journey, there's often a big pile of stones. And all the travellers before you have taken a pebble and made a big pile of stones. So I suggest that you might want to come and you might want to make a cairn. We'll just see what happens. But I think we should sing. If you want. Everything tonight is completely optional. But we have the beautiful Morris Folk Choir. So I think we should use them and sing with them. So the first song I'm going to suggest we sing is called Body Break. And it's very simple. The words are, this is my body, she is brave. So I'm going to say that anyone here who's here tonight as a woman, you've come here in your kind of womanness, whatever that means to you, yeah, this one's just for us to sing. There's going to be a lot of people of other genders. I'm going to ask you at different points tonight to just witness those of us who are women. Give us your beautiful witnessing power, which is such a gift. So this one. Take yourself back to the moment you were born. You were born, and no one had told you you weren't allowed to talk about, or you shouldn't even feel certain feelings. You were just completely in your every cell, powerfully and alive, okay? Let's just see if we can feel something, even a glimmer of that, because that was you, the very you who is here now. Is there some sense of power? Perhaps something else completely. And then I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and we're going to do a drum roll and see what noises come out from a place of that primordial, childlike, innocent grace that we all have. We'll just see what happens. I have no idea what's about to happen. Okay. Thanks for being up to it. 1, 2, 3. So we're on a little journey together tonight, and yeah, none of us quite know what shape it's going to take. I know more than you. I'm very, very grateful for your showing up for this strange creation. But I called it a live gig experience. I will sing. We've already sung, and we'll have some experiences. I think I'll start with one of my songs. What shall I say? I'll say this, that I was very fortunate in my life to be cared for not only by my parents, but also a couple of really incredible women. And it just happened to be that these women didn't have children, my Aunt Sherry and my great Aunt Dinah. And so I got so much of their loving care. My great Aunt Dinah would often take me away on holiday, and she took me quite often to the Isle of Wight, and we went to a holiday camp, a bit like Butlins. And I have such a clear memory. Every evening there would be dancing, kind of waltzy dancing, tea dancing, couples dancing. But people, I'm looking around what kind of age, many people here will recall kind of the generation the women who lost, many of them lost their men in the war actually. And you had this kind of generation of women who didn't have partners. And my childhood memory is seeing so many women dancing with each other. And of course there are many reasons women might choose to dance with each other than we lost our dudes in the war. But I'm sure that was part of many of their stories as well. And so this is a song about not having children. And right now in this time, well, I've just read about how there's some certain vice president across the Atlantic who considers childlessness to be associated with sociopathy. I think it's like, I never thought I would be singing this song with political implications as well as just like a way of connecting to the personal stories of many women and also many other genders. I know not having children is not something that just many women have to grapple with, and all the feelings and emotions. It can be a journey for anyone who's on that journey. So I will sing, I will speak, and I will sing, and I will dance. And if anyone chooses to come up and dance with me, or just around on their own, that would be a joy, but don't feel obliged. Start off speaking. This is called The Waltz for the Childless Women. So it's true. I will never know the sacred things that all mothers know. When you come running, it won't be to me. And I will never kiss my grandchild's toes. But look at this whole wide world, it's so full of life. We are all creations. You know, someone gave birth to me, and for that I do give thanks. Thank you, Mama. But it's not my path, and so I sing this song for all the childless women. When you see your ancestors standing in line, reaching behind you through time. This is the holy Joanie bunting, as I call it. Some people call it cunting. And it's made actually of my childhood bed sheets, which I feel very tender about actually. All those years I slept as a girl on those sheets, and I did a workshop at a festival a few years ago. And I asked the women there a really important question that people don't tend to ask, and it was, what do you struggle to speak about? So they wrote that. And then on the other side they wrote why they struggled to speak about those things. What was the reason it was hard to speak about those things? And then on the ones with little hearty flowers, I asked what would they need to feel able to speak about those things. So in the interval, please do have a read. But I'll just read a few of them out now because it's great to have their voices kind of in the circle with us. So the question was, what do you struggle to speak about? This is just a random selection of what some of the women said. Anyone guess what the most common one was?
Shame.
The most common thing people said they struggled to speak about was actually sex. Sex. What was that? Yeah, you're not surprised.
You know, I say like sexual assault.
Sexual assault is there. Sexual assault is here. Childhood sexual abuse is here. I think this one's quite interesting. Sex with when I was underage with much older men. What the fuck? Why did that happen? PMS can be so hardcore. Fear of rape, thrush and UTIs. Following from that, my yoni smell. If you don't know the word yoni, I'll tell you about it in a minute. Being in an abusive relationship. Not wanting to have children. Someone else said how much I wanted children. If I dress overly sexy, women won't like me. Imperfections of the body. Letting my full belly out. It reminds me of what happened to me just the other day. I was dancing around the kitchen on my own, and this sometimes happens. I'm sure I'm not the only one. My bum cheeks kind of slapped together and make the slapping noise. And on my own, in my kitchen, my first reaction was shame. It goes deep. The fact that I bleed from my anus when I menstruate. My sexual pleasure not being a priority until recently. That's nice that she put down until recently. If I shave, does it mean I'm not a feminist? I'm not making this up, right? I'm pretty sure until about 15 years ago, bunting was like an occasional decorative thing in British Isles. Yeah, right? And then suddenly, like one summer, poof, bunting everywhere. And it's not stopped. There's bunting everywhere. And I was like, get in the downward pointing triangle, the symbol of the sacred feminine. I was like, yes, the rise of the feminine is literally manifesting itself in a physical form all over street parties and festivals and every newborn baby's bedroom walls. So I was very excited by the downward pointing triangles everywhere. That's what led to the creation of the whole yoni bunting. And yeah, yoni, if for anyone who doesn't know. So I never liked, I just never did, even before I knew it, the word vagina. It just doesn't sound nice to me. And apologies for anyone who does, it's just a personal choice thing. And then I found out what it means. Sheath for a sword, a scabbard, something you keep a sword in. That's what the word vagina literally means, something you keep a sword in. Like, no, this is not something you keep your sword in, mate. This is my holy yoni. It has its own integral worth, and actually, it's not my thing. I just don't like swords anywhere near it. So keep your sword away. I'm just looking at the lyrics here. Does any? Did you just pass me that one?
Which one?
Yes, that one on the right. Yeah, I don't know why I'm asking you first. Okay. Anyone familiar with the folk song The Sheath and a Knife? It's a really good one. There's quite a few different tunes. I really like the Ewan McCall version. Check this out. There's a prince and a princess, and these are kind of brother and sister, kind of prince and princess. Brother and sister. And he makes her pregnant. Down in the woods. These things always happen down in the green woods in the folk songs. And I think, in many parts of the world and in history, shame killed. Shame still kills. She says to her brother, the prince, kill me, and our unborn child. So he takes her down to the woods and he kills her, and their unborn child. And he comes back to the palace or castle, I don't know what they had, and his dad, the king, is like, what's up, mate? You look a bit glum. And he said, yeah, you know what, Dad? I'm going to turn this down for like an effect. He said, I have lost the best sheath my knife will ever know. That's how he described the death by his own hand of his sister. The best sheath my knife will ever know. Oh my God. So I think I've learned some stuff about the sister and the baby. I don't know their names. Just seeing how many of these songs actually are about death of women. So much. Like, in fact, nearly all of them are about the death of women. The raping or the murdering. I think it's time for us to sing another song. So before we do that, everyone make a fist with your hand. Have a look at it. Look at the size and the shape and the mass of it, if you want to. I remember from biology class being taught that your fist is pretty much the size and the shape of your heart. So maybe you might want to put it kind of between your chest and just kind of feel it there and feel it into that incredible thing that's been beating since before we were born. I think maybe it's time to sing a song for our hearts. So this is called It's Okay to Cry. And it reminds me of when I was a girl and I started to bleed. See if I was the only one. I remember going into the school toilets, and at that time I didn't know about reusable sanitary items. So I had my wee little plastic rustly sanitary pad thing. See, someone's already smiling.
So rustly.
So rustly! You'd go in the toilet and you'd get it out. And I was like, oh God, imagine if another girl who probably bleeds herself may actually be going through exactly the same experience in the very cubicle next to me. What would happen if she heard the rustly sound and knew that I bled? Yeah, right. I always see women nodding in recognition, and it is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous, and it's still the case. In fact, for anyone who hasn't looked at the beautiful merch table at the back here, I am selling amazing, I call them sanctuary pads. I refuse to call them sanctuary pads. Sanctuary pads. And a woman, I was so interested, in fact, I'm just going to show you them. Because these are great, they're fair trade, they're quick drying. This is my favourite thing, they dry really quickly. And they're really pretty. And a woman was saying, oh, she'll buy one for her daughter because they're great. But she said her daughter would only wear it at home. You put it around your knickers like that. She said her daughter wouldn't wear it at school because they're quite bulky, but she'd wear it at home. And I was just thinking about this later. I was like, that's still the shame. The daughter, and I feel that too, where I wear things like Canadian invisible pants. And my God, what? Imagine if someone knew that I was like, what? That I was human? Like, what's so shameful? But I feel like putting this in the middle of our centerpiece. This beautiful pants. Bulky, visible, terrific. Anyway, I was thinking about all that, and about a year ago, I went for a walk on the beach, the very beach these pebbles are from, Portobello Beach in Edinburgh. I don't know if anyone knows it. And yay! When were you last there?
I ran the marathon along it.
Recently?
2 years ago.
Oh, amazing. Right, so you've met the new fancy posh 40. It didn't used to be fancy and posh. It's very chic now. We have a sauna and everything. Love it. And so I went for a beach clean. We have our local Pride festival. We even have our own little Pride festival in Portobello. And it was Portobello Pride beach clean day. So I went along, and everyone was doing such a great job. They picked up all the litter, and the truth is, there's hardly any litter to start with. So there was nothing. I couldn't see any litter. I thought, ooh, no one's walking up the Figgy Burn. Now the Figgy Burn, officially the Figgate Burn means river in Scottish. It comes into the sea there. So I went up the Figgy Burn with my wellies on. And this is a song about what I found. I want to do a little experiment. I'm going to say a phrase, and just if a phrase happens to pop into your head, any just whatever, if anything pops into your head, say it back to me. Are you going to Scarborough Fair? Try again. Just say it. Are you going to Scarborough Fair?
As we say, Grace Mary and Time.
So, imagine my surprise. I've mentioned that I used to work supporting women and babies. I was reading a great book by a herbalist called Susan Weed. I thought that was a great name for a herbalist, Susan Weed. And she had a list of herbs that traditionally, obviously, still can be used, but were much more commonly used in the past to end a pregnancy. Quite a long list. And in them, I was like, la 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 la, parsley, sage, parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. In that order in the book, parsley, and I was like, hold on a minute! And I went back to the lyrics, the Simon and Garfunkel version. And I was like, oh my goodness me. And suddenly the song felt very different. So I think it must be one of the best known, if not the best known, folk songs, thanks to Simon and Garfunkel. We need to mention Martin Carthy for all the folkies here. Martin Carthy, English folk singer and amazing guitarist, does claim he was the dude who put the two songs together in the Simon and Garfunkel version, Canticle and Scarborough Fair. So I think it's always good to credit your sources. So as well as mentioning Simon and Garfunkel, I mentioned Martin Carthy. But yeah, are you going to Scarborough Fair?
Parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme.
Abortions. Abortions and miscarriages and losing babies, these things. You know, there's a reason this show is called The Elephant in the Womb. Not everything, by far, not everything we've touched on tonight and that are written up here are to do with our, what would we call it, reproductive capacity. But so many of them are. So we couldn't do the show without bringing them into the circle, into the womb. So we've got the lovely Morris Folk Choir. Maybe we'll just let them sing us the song, and we can just be with the reality that many of us women in this room will have had abortions. Many of us will have had miscarriages. There's absolutely nothing to be ashamed of. Some of us may have lost babies. And of course, the ramifications of all those things ripple out to other genders too, not just women. And we're here, and it's okay, and it's sad. And these things can last our whole lives, our feelings around them. So Morris, will you sing for us? And we're just here together. We don't have to do anything.
Parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. Remember me to one who lives there. She once was the true love of
So the thing about rocks right, is we forget. We look at these things and we think they have been solid forever. And that they will be solid forever. Many of these were probably literally liquid at one point in their journey. They would flow. And I find the word petrified really interesting. It has such a double meaning. To feel petrified means to feel terrified. It also means to turn to stone. And I think, we can use these metaphors. But I was thinking the other day about metamorphosis. And I was remembering about metamorphic rock. And that these things change. It may have been molten lava once. And you know what? That stone may be molten lava once again. And I was thinking about these journey points in our lives that feel like they will never, ever be anything but the solid, frozen thing that we feel now. But just sometimes with grace and love and the right conditions, just like in this belly of the earth, with the right conditions, these things can start to flow again sometimes. And I think that's the work that we're doing here tonight. We're just beginning. Nothing in me thinks that we come out to a thing like this and everything's okay and we've smashed the patriarchy and we've healed all our ancestral wounds and all our own paths. That's not going to happen. But sometimes there's a bit of grace in something that we thought was totally stuck and solid begins to melt. That's the official term, the geological term. The rocks melt. We had a very big fire. We had pebbles for all the women throughout time. We, for whatever reason, have had to make those choices. And I honour you all. I honour us all. And I'm really hoping someone's going to feel able, more than one person might feel able to share something we want to bring into our circle and name out loud that we love about women. Anyone feel like they can share it with everyone? It's a scary moment. It's okay. Do you want it?
No.
Shout it out. Shout it out. Let's all listen.
The strange otherness of women, the mysterious, elegant, ethereal beauty, the fact that it is impossible to understand what the experience of the women, of a woman is, and women, whether they have children or whether they don't, they have a lot to put up with. Yes, thank you. Anyone else? There was so much chat, I know, things were said. Please, just shout it out, yeah.
How deep my female friendships are?
I've heard other women say that as well, yes. Deep female friendships. Thank you.
And then on this side, we said deep. I said deep conversation without hearing that.
Yay! We have depth. We have depth. Yeah, just shout it out.
I'm going to say empathy, and I've heard people say that what's happening in America is a failure of empathy above all else.
Thank you. And it's reminding me that there was some interesting stuff when COVID happened about the difference in, like, they looked at the different reactions of female and male leaders, and I think the empathy of the leadership was up there as one thing that was noted.
And I do think like everyone should be able to do this, but like just to be able to like, you know, have like, you know, long hair and like wear dresses and stuff without scrutiny. Like I do believe scrutiny on anyone, but that is a bad thing. But it's like the absence of that is still something that I appreciate.
So are you celebrating the fact that we can do that?
Yeah, I do think everyone should be able to do that. But yeah, that's nice.
Enjoy it. Yeah, being able to have long hair and wear dresses without scrutiny.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. Got it. Thank you. Yes. Anything else?
We're talking about power and juiciness and sensuality.
I learned a word recently that was eco-sexuality. I was like, oh, I'm not the only one. But sometimes just feels this incredible sexual connection with the earth. I don't know, maybe people of other genders have it too, but I know a lot of women experience it. There's a word for it, eco-sexuality. Really like that one. So juiciness and power. Yeah.
Ingenuity, being able to take what's there and make something. I had a grandmother who, when there was nothing in the house, could make a meal. She could just take things from it.
Thank you. What else? Anything else? Yeah.
I'm not going to say.
Yes.
No, just also, when I did my master's degree, I did my 20,000 word dissertation on feminism. I've been thinking of feminism as I've always been very interested in it as a political movement because the fundamental ethos of, certainly as I understand feminism, is that the reason the planet's fucked, the nature is being raped, the wars, destructions, is because all the major decisions that are made in the world are made by men through a masculine form of aggression and domination. And if there were more women in positions of power, there would be less environmental destruction and that dickhead wouldn't have invaded Ukraine. Anyway, so that's sorry for her.
No, you have to apologise. This is an absolute open space and all these things are welcome and I'm very happy to hear them. What was that Ivor Cutler song? We'll take over. The world come to an end. And we haven't got long. Yeah, we haven't got long. So you're not the first to say it. So, I'll just leave it in case anyone else feels like shouting a few more out.
Yeah, I do. I love that women can give birth when they're undisturbed. The rawness and the sweat, blood and tears and the labour that they give for the future. And peace on earth starts with birth. It can be gentle and it can be physiological and it can be normal and exactly what the last speaker said. It's been nominated.
Yes,
for sure.
And you know what? It's reminding me, I had a wonderful friend called Helen up in Edinburgh, and she, I was like, wow, she was so wise. She told me about when you're a midwife, everyone tells you their birth stories. And she told me her birth story. She was giving birth to her daughter, and she said her mantra, she just kept repeating it to herself, was, I am giving a child to the earth. And I was like, that's just so beautiful, because giving, just beyond giving, it's just such an open, expressive thing of like offering. And I could feel the effect that as if you say to yourself, I'm giving a child to the earth, like all the other ligaments, they just kind of open up and you just get all supple and soft. And that's, I think part of the thing you were talking about. And I was like, wow, she just intuitively came up with that herself. So that's quite a nice segue to my next song. If no one has anything else.
Can I quickly say,
Please.
I like the fact that, as I understand it biologically, the female is the default position of baby, so we all start off female, that's why men have nipples. And then if this testosterone comes into the baby, then they turn into male. So actually, being female is the default position for humanity when we are all conceived. So we all start off as female, and some of us turn into males because of testosterone being introduced. That's my understanding. You're nodding over there. I hope is that true?
Yeah.
And I'll just add in, because we live in the times that we live in as well, that now we're much more aware that there are other genders as well,
course,
and
yes,
intersex and
sure.
the rest, but absolutely.
Yeah.
Does anything come to mind if I do this? With my approach, Oh, what? A Sheila-na-gig! Yes! Well, some people, the Irish might say Sheila-na-gig. So, Sheila-na-gigs, we go to some medieval churches in Britain and Ireland, you might see the strange figure. The strange figure, we know that they're probably, they're female, so they've got labia, and we know they've got labia because they're going like that, and opening them up for the whole world to see them. Some don't have breasts, I find it curious, maybe they're prepubescent, they still have labia, right? In our culture. So the Sheila-na-gig, over sometimes archways, sometimes a bit like a gargoyle, stone carvings of these strange, some would say grotesque figures. And I was aware of this kind of debate. You had the feminists on one side saying the Sheila-na-gigs are definitely like symbols of feminine power and their inclusion into the built fabric of the church, and it's brilliant and wonderful, and we can use that symbol like as a symbol of female empowerment. And then you had other people being like, no, they're like the most terrifying, grotesque thing ever, and then they're like the gargoyles to scare all the evil spirits away, because who can think of anything more disgusting than a woman exposing her genitals, right? Ugh. So I was like, these are two very different interpretations. And all this happened hundreds of years ago. We can't go back to the stonemasons and be like, dudes, why did you carve these things? And they'd probably just say, because we were told to anyway, we have to ask someone else. So I was like, well, how are we going to get to the bottom of this mystery? How are we going to find out what the Sheilas are about? And then I had a brainwave. go and ask for Sheila, obviously. So I took myself off to the Isle of Harris, which was at that point my nearest Sheila and the Gig. There's a map, you can Google it, the Sheila and the Gig map, it will tell you where they are, all over Britain and Ireland. So I went off to Rodell, the church, the mighty church of Rodell, the southern tip of Paris, and I was like, Sheila, you know, I did the thing, you introduce yourself and you give an offering. I was like, Sheila, I've come to understand you. Would you give me a song? She's like, yeah, of course. So she gave me her song, I'll sing it for you, and then maybe we'll do the dance. Right. Yeah, I mean, we've got Morris Folk Choir. I think I'll just get you guys to sing it. So, as in everyone who wants to. Ooh, right. We'll start with percussion. It's not me, though she kind of is a queen. Then we'll just sing the words, so we'll stop the ooze, we'll just sing. This is my body, she is ready. This is my heart, she knows the future. This is my body.